Presenza, 18th of February 2024, China's Brahmaputra Dam will pose a danger to India and Bangladesh. China has constructed dams to regulate water movement into India as part of its water warfare with India on the subcontinent. As the foundation of her water strategy, China constructed the largest dam in the world across the formidable Brahmaputra River in secret, putting the region's ecology, environment, and morphology at risk. If the megaproject proceeds as planned, it will undoubtedly wreak havoc on millions of people in Bangladesh and India downstream. Bangladesh and India are highly concerned about the Zangmu Hydropower Station, a $1.5 billion dam constructed by China across the Brahmaputra. In violation of the Helsinki Rules on the uses of the waters of international rivers, which are an international guideline established by the International Law Association, ILA, in Helsinki, Finland, in 1966 and governing the use of rivers and their connected groundwaters that transcend national boundaries, China failed to conduct the required consultations with its two neighboring countries. Dhaka and New Delhi know that diplomatic negotiations with the haughty Beijing administration will not resolve the brewing dispute. China is creating an additional point of contention with India by constructing a hydroelectric dam across the formidable Brahmaputra River. The Bharatiya Janata Party, BJP, is in power in the northeastern state of Assam, from which the river flows further south before entering the Bangladesh Delta. A local appellation is given to the Brahmaputra River at Bahadurabad in Jamalpur, where it empties into Bangladesh. According to author and researcher Mohiuddin Ahmad, the Jamuna River emerges directly from the Brahmaputra River. The populace residing along the Jamuna River relies on it during the monsoon season for vitality, facilitating extensive agricultural operations and providing navigation for millions in the floodplains. The proposed mega-dam by China on the significant river that empties into northeast India has the potential to escalate into a series of disputes between New Delhi and Beijing and is expected to generate apprehension in Bangladesh. Brahma Jalani, former advisor to India's National Security Council and emeritus professor of strategic studies at the Centre for Policy Research in New Delhi, is retired. Among his 9 published works is Water, Asia's New Battleground. China is the global hydro hegemon, having constructed more operational large dams than all other countries combined. Presently, it is constructing the first super dam in the globe, near its heavily fortified border with India. With a projected capacity of 60 gigawatts, this megaproject would produce 3 times as much electricity as the Three Gorges Dam, which is presently recognized as the largest hydropower facility globally. China has provided limited updates regarding the project's progress since its National People's Congress approval in March 2021. Before submitting the Super Dam project to the National People's Congress for approval, China ensured that it had adequately developed the necessary infrastructure to facilitate the transportation of heavy equipment, materials, and personnel to the remote location. 2 months following Parliament's approval almost 3 years ago, Beijing declared the successful completion of a highway through the deepest canyon in the world. This road terminates near the Indian boundary. Concealing the progress of previous endeavors has frequently functioned as a pretext for covert operations. Beijing has a history of concealing significant dam construction on international rivers until commercially available satellite imagery could no longer detect the activity. The super dam is situated in an area that has long been considered impassable due to its rugged terrain. The hydrological and morphological aspects of the river remain to be thoroughly investigated. Thus, the enormous river is currently the subject of expert research. According to Ahmad, a former Bangladesh Delta Plan (BDP) employee of a century's tenure, Bangladesh is falling behind in researching the Brahmaputra. To provide context, the Tibetan's Brahmaputra, called the Yarlung Tsangpo, descends by nearly 3,000 meters as it curves sharply southwards from the Himalayas into India. This canyon is the longest and steepest in the world and is the source of the world's highest altitude main river. The Brahmaputra Gorge, which is twice as deep as the Grand Canyon in the United States, is home to Asia's largest untapped water reserves. Additionally, the river's sharp fall produces one of the planet's largest concentrations of river energy. Chinese dam builders have found themselves drawn to this combination like a magnet. Several British expeditions and researchers could not penetrate Tibet, now occupied territory of China, during the British Raj, according to Sanat Chakraborty, a journalist and scholar specializing in the river morphology, life, and history of rivers in northeast India. Samrat Chowdhury, a highly regarded Indian journalist who spent days adrift on the Brahmaputra in the northeastern region in Bangladesh, authored The Braided Rivers. This literary work provides a detailed account of the daily lives of various indigenous groups, including boatmen, fishermen, the chars, shoals, people, farmers, and the bustling hats market. He elaborated on the fact that millions of individuals rely on the river. Contrarily, due to its construction in a seismically active region, the enormous dam stands as the most dangerous undertaking on a global scale. Jelani writes that this renders it a ticking time bomb for communities downstream in India and Bangladesh. Disconcertingly, the southeastern region of the Tibetan Plateau is prone to earthquakes due to its location along the Indian and Eurasian tectonic plates' geological fracture line. The 2008 Sichuan earthquake, which occurred along the eastern border of the Tibetan Plateau, claimed the lives of 87,000 people and garnered global attention due to the reservoir-triggered pressure phenomenon that a dam's reservoir may have facilitated. Scientists from China and the United States established a correlation between the earthquake and the Zipingta Dam in Sichuan operationally positioned near a seismic fissure 2 years prior. They hypothesized that the dam's reservoir containing several hundred million cubic meters of water could have generated RTS or severe tectonic stresses due to its substantial mass. However, without an earthquake, the new super dam could endanger communities further downstream in the Great Bend of the Brahmaputra if flash floods are triggered by torrential monsoon rainfall. A limited number of years ago, about 400 million Chinese citizens were endangered when the Three Gorges Dam was threatened by unprecedented inundation. According to the Center for Policy Research, China is concealing its construction efforts in pursuit of its controversial megaproject on the Brahmaputra to suppress international opposition. The Brahmaputra was among the last unobstructed rivers in the world before China constructed a series of intermediate-sized structures along sections upstream from the renowned canyon. As its dam construction approaches border regions, China will eventually have the ability to utilize transboundary flows to its advantage in its relations with rival India. However, Bangladesh will bear the primary burden of the environmental devastation anticipated from the megaproject along the final section of the river. However, the ecological destruction is expected to spread throughout Tibet, which is recognized as one of the most biologically diverse regions globally. China's megadam will desecrate the canyon region, which is a highly sacred site in Tibet. Transparency is a cardinal principle of water harmony. Due to the enormous inter-riparian, environmental, and strategic ramifications accompanying constructing the most massive dam ever imagined, China must be completely transparent. Beijing can be compelled to disclose the details of its initiative only through persistent international pressure.